This is the RAD Position with ASRT CEO and Executive Director Melissa Pergola. A podcast for medical imaging and radiation therapy professionals. Hey there, everyone, and welcome back to the RAD Position podcast. I'm your host, Melissa Pergola.
And I'm her podcast partner, Ray Arambula.
And tonight, we are so excited to have Bill Brennan. Say hey, Bill.
Hey there.
And Bill, what do you do?
A few things. I'm kind of a unicorn at the ASRT. I run the museum. Yes. I'm the health and safety officer, and I oversee facilities as well.
He ran IT for a short period. Did you know that?
Get out.
I was actually the chief information officer for a short period of time. And then they realized what a mistake that was, and they brought Ray on. So.
All right. Well, we won't be talking about your time running IT, but we will be talking about the museum. And you've also been an unbelievable volunteer with longstanding history with our affiliates in the ASRT. And we are super excited to talk to you. And we also want to remind our listeners to subscribe.
Yes. Please subscribe, Apple Podcasts, Spotify, ASRT.org/RAD Position, all
YouTube.
The ways you can get connected with us.
Yes. And thank you for listening. So we are excited to get started with this episode. So I'm going to do an introduction to Bill. Bill Brennan has been an RT for 40 years and an ASRT member for 26 years. During his career, he has been a radiographer, a CT technologist, chief technologist, program director of 3 schools, director of radiology for 2 hospitals, and a PACS administrator. He is a past president and life member of the New York affiliate and has served on the ASRT board of directors for 5 years, including positions of president and chairman of the board. He joined the ASRT staff in 2019 as Associate Executive Director of the ASRT Museum and Archives and currently serves as its Executive Director, along with being ASRT's Health and Safety Officer, thank you, Bill, and oversees our Facility Management Department. So, Bill, thank you for coming on with us tonight.
Thank you for having me.
So, Bill, you play an important role at ASRT, but you also, as I mentioned earlier, have a really long history of leadership. So can you tell us a little bit about how you got into volunteering and leadership positions?
So I guess I first got started on the affiliate level when my boss, who is a longtime ASRT member, Steve Herman, and also a previous board member of the ARRT.
Yes.
He was my boss, and he voluntold me that I was going to be the editor of the newsletter for the state affiliate because he thought that I could write well. So that's kind of how it started. And then after that, I realized how much I had to offer. And also, I really loved the people that I was volunteering with. Yeah. And, it was a way to give back to the profession.
Yeah. I love that you were voluntold. So many of us were voluntold into leadership positions, volunteer positions.
I'm sure there's been tremendous opportunities that open for you, both personally and professionally.
Oh, heck yeah. I mean, did I ever think I was going to be in Albuquerque running a museum?
Right.
Yeah.
Never in a million years did I think that. So.
What a great point, Ray. I never thought of that. Being part of a membership association, there are the benefits of being part of that community and all of the things that we do, like, protecting the profession and advancing the profession. But I even think about myself, and like I said, I've never thought about this before. The different positions I've had came from relationships or interactions that I've had based on my volunteering, many of them. And so not only giving back to the profession, but personally helping you throughout your career, that benefit of being a member of an association and being a leader and building that network. Yeah.
It's powerful.
Yeah.
Plus, you're right, Melissa, as far as giving back what you get out of it, right? So, when I think about all those years on the ASRT board and even on the New York State board, all the places I got to visit that I would never in a million years would I go to, but I had that opportunity and it has so enriched my life.
All right, Bill. So now we're going to transition to our amazing museum. So I have several questions that I know I want to ask and Ray wants to ask. But first, just tell us what you want to tell us about the museum.
Wow.
That's really open-ended.
Yeah, I'll say. It's my passion,
Mhm.
right? I goof around and I tell people that I belong in a museum because I'm so old, the funny thing, when I do my tours, I tell people that radiology has been around for 128 years.
Mhm.
And I've been a tech for 1/3 of that time, the entire history of radiology.
Yeah.
So, I am one of the artifacts in that museum. But I don't know, to see how far we've come in such a short period of time. I think that's what I try to impart to our visitors more than anything else, that, radiology is such an amazing field. And, we're just getting started.
Yes.
When you compare us to other fields, we're in our infancy.
Mhm.
And all you have to do is look down in that museum that covers, that 128 years.
Yeah.
And we've gone from, hand developing and hand blown X-ray tubes to MRIs. It boggles my mind, and I'm in the field.
So there are other radiology museums across the country, right? So what makes ours unique?
Yeah. So, it's funny. I've done Google searches. I've looked everywhere. I cannot find another radiology-based museum anywhere in the world whose main focus is the profession and not just the dusty artifacts, right?
Yeah.
Not just that. And of course, that's a huge part of our museum. But there's a whole section of the museum, that stresses our profession, our field of radiologic technology and the people that do it.
Yeah.
So, Bill, we have lots of artifacts within the museum.
About 2,000.
Wow. And you've told me a little bit about how you collect some of these things, how some are offered to us. Can you describe that process? What maybe some unique things around that?
Yeah, people from all over the country. Some are technologists, some are radiologists, some are just, folks, whose father was in the field or whatever. And they call me up and they say, I have such and such. Or what I get a lot, believe it or not, is I know this has something to do with radiology, but I haven't a clue what it is.
And what would you say is the oldest artifact we have?
It's an X-ray tube from 1897. So literally 13, 14 months after the discovery of X-rays.
We'll be right back after this short message. ASRT members, the ASRT election is just around the corner. Get ready to cast your votes on both the annual ballot and the special election ballot for the candidates who will help influence the ASRT and the profession. Your vote matters. Please visit asrt.org/vote to review the sample ballot, read the candidates' position statements, and learn about this year's special election. The 2025 ASRT election takes place February 11th to March 4th. What's your favorite artifact?
That's a good guy. I have a lot of favorite artifacts. One of the coolest things I think that we have in the museum, what I call quackery. So quackery. I did a video series I did 2 videos on the quackery in our museum. Things that people were trying to make a buck off of, right? And they would just throw the label X-ray or radiology or radium on it. And, the unsuspecting public would buy it because they thought at the time that X-ray or radium, it was going to be the panacea for all human ills, right? But back then, people bought these things. And 2 of the things in that display, the quackery display, though, were dangerous, were very dangerous. They really contained radioactivity, and people drank the water that were in these vessels and got very sick from them.
Wow.
So that's, it's a dark part of the history, but I find it fascinating. That's one of my faves, I think.
Hey, can I tell you my least favorite part of the museum?
I know what it is.
So every morning when I come through the museum, and I've been here for a few years now, and I still jump 3 feet every time I turn the corner. Can you talk about our wax figures?
Our mannequins, yeah. So particularly the ones at the entrance of the museum. So those two, we have Wilhelm Röntgen, the discoverer of X-rays. And of course, we also have Ed.D. the founder of the ASRT.
Yeah.
They're very well done.
They are.
They're just creepy.
They're scary.
They are kind of creepy, but they're in dress of the time of those gentlemen, and they stand as guardians to the profession and to the museum. But my favorite mannequin is the one I always joke around. He looks like Freddie Mercury.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah.
And
really does.
He's got a great mustache, not as good as mine, but I always like him. He's over in our fluoroscopy display.
Yeah.
So.
But what would you say are some of the artifacts in the museum that our guests find the most interesting?
That's a good question. A lot would depend on their background and their age. So we have members that come through. They love seeing the stuff that they used to use that we no longer use. Things like the Hold-A-Babe, where we used to tie up babies to take X-rays of them so they wouldn't move, right? Yeah. Or chemicals for the darkroom back when we used to hand develop films, right?
Yeah.
If you've been in the field a while, you reminisce about that stuff, right? There was a lot more art. It's always been an art and a science, but there was a lot more art back then. That's what they like. A lot depends on their background. Like I've had electrical engineers come in, and they're fascinated by a rectifier, which basically it makes AC into DC.
Yep.
All right.
Yep.
And it took something the size of this desk to do what your cell phone charger does now. Right.
Yeah.
But an electrical engineer will look at that and go, this is genius. Right. And it is right. From that time. If it's a kid, they love dressing up. We have some antique replicas of radiation protection, aprons and goggles and those kinds of things. They love doing that and taking selfies. We also have an interactive table called Build-A-Body, where there's all different X-rays, images from the whole body, and the kids can drag and drop it to where they think it belongs. So it all depends.
Yeah.
Right?
So you mentioned kids, and of course, Dr. Heather Moore, our president, part of her initiative is increasing the pipeline. And we just went out to the Discovery Fest, right, for Big Brothers Big Sisters. 1,900 students came.
So much fun.
And that was fun. We had that old gear there, and for them to try that on, and like they thought they looked like minions.
Yeah.
So that is a lot of fun. What other student groups and what else do we do with the museum for pipeline?
So the Big Brothers Big Sisters thing, that's new for us this year. Hopefully we're going to be doing another one of those in the spring.
Yes.
That's the plan anyway. But we have all kinds of groups come in. CNM, for example, they have a radiology program. That's the college for New Mexico. They come in with their students, and those students are trying to enter the profession, right? But it's an opportunity for us to show them where they came from, right? Because you don't know where you're going. They think they know where they're going, but they don't know until you see where you came from, right?
Yeah.
And that's so we have those folks come in all the time as far as pipeline goes.
So, Bill, we get a lot of people come through the museum. I imagine, and I've heard, there's just tons of great feedback that we get. What has been some of the more positive feedback that you've heard that's really stood out to you?
Well, almost everybody leaves here learning something. I get comments like, I had no idea. I didn't know.
Wow.
And that's the thing with our profession, right? Is that we're kind of the best kept secret, right?
Yes.
And we're trying to fix that, right? We shouldn't be a secret, right? Yeah. And people don't realize the history that the profession has, nor do they realize how much education and knowledge a radiologic technologist has to have.
Yes.
They don't realize until I start explaining to them the physics of how an X-ray beam is created, right?
Yes.
Or the potential dangers involved in radiology, right? And the fact that, we're hands-on people. So I think probably more than anything else is I had no idea. And that phrase, when I get that back, I love it. And I often ask, especially when I get student groups in, I say, did you learn something today? And inevitably they all do. And the ones that are in X-ray programs, they leave here, I think, with a newfound pride in the profession. So I think those comments are important to me.
Well, I can imagine that feels really good. And someone who's very passionate about what they do, those definitely got to feel good. Now, the museum is open to the public.
By appointment.
By appointment. So can you describe a little bit to our listeners what that process looks like?
Sure. Well, it's very informal and it's very easy. Basically, you just need to send me an email, right? Or if you call the ASRT, that'll be forwarded to me. Generally, my long-winded tour, which is my typical tour, is about an hour and a half.
Wow.
All right. So to adequately try to cover, and even then, I'm not even covering everything, but about an hour and a half is what I like to do. So it depends, but we'll accommodate anybody for any length of time.
Yes.
Well, you heard it first on this podcast. Make sure you get those appointments scheduled. Bill books fast. And I would advise going the long-winded route. Bill has an amazing voice.
He does.
A beautiful voice, actually. And speaking of, this is a great transition.
I knew something was coming.
Into our game on the show.
Kim, did you preview this? No. Oh, no.
Oh, man.
So here's what we're going to do. In this cup, I have some cut up pieces of paper that have a word on them.
Okay.
You each are going to pick 2 pieces of paper. So you'll have 2 words total. And from those 2 words, you'll have to come up with a verse or a chorus as part of using these 2 words that would potentially be in a song. The thing is, you have to sing it. You obviously have a background in music, and so does Melissa. So pick 2 words. Okay, Bill, your turn. And I'll give you some time to think about what that verse or chorus looks like.
You go first.
Wow. And she gets to say that.
All right, since you made up these rules, I'm going to change them.
Oh, boy.
So my 2 words are Elvis and beach. So I'm thinking about, how do I do Blake Shelton like Elvis? Some beach.
This is going to be good.
Oh, no.
There's a big umbrella.
I was hoping he'd go there.
On a beach. On an empty chair.
Oh, man.
Thank you. Thank you very much.
I got goosebumps.
Did you say Elvis?
That was Elvis, yeah.
But you didn't say Elvis.
I know that. I said I'm going to change the rules. I'm doing beach like Elvis. That's what I'm doing.
No.
But come on. That was really good.
It was good.
That was
all right,
good.
you win.
Thank you.
All right, but I'm going to be a good sport. My 2 words are sunshine and sanitizer.
Oh, good God.
Okay. So, there is no sunshine. There is no sunshine. It is during COVID, which doesn't seem to go away. There is no sunshine. I need some sanitizer. Oh, where can I find some sanitizer?
Amazing. I don't know, Bill. We might have a new voice of an angel.
I concede.
Wow.
I concede.
We'll be right back after this short message. This year, commit to earning a new credential with ASRT's Structured Education Bundles. Comprehensive, online, and ARRT approved, these courses provide the 16 continuing education credits you need to earn a new credential. Our high-quality and convenient structured education solutions will make earning a credential a resolution you keep. Take the first step at asrt.org/structured education. All right, so thanks, Ray. We're going to move on now.
Let's move on.
Bill, we have something here called the We See You segment. So kind of similar to being seen, but we want our listeners to know we see you. And so listeners can write in to our email, which is radposition@asrt.org, or they can go to asrt.org/radposition, and there's a form they can fill out. And we ask them to ask us questions, tell us how they got into this amazing profession. We're still waiting for a patient to write write in. We would love that,
Yes.
right? To have a patient talk about the amazing interaction they had with one of our healthcare heroes. But today we have a video question, I understand, and it is from Mark Lynn. He's from Henderson, Nevada, and he also is a published author with us. He's written an article for The Scanner. So we'll go ahead and see what his question is.
Hello, my name is Mark Lynn. I've been a part of the ASRT since 2007. I'm part of the CT chapter also. I'm a graduate of the UNLV radiography program, and also I have a bachelor's in finance from UNLV. I decided to write this article because a lot of people in our field are skilled and knowledgeable in their field, but when it comes to finance, a lot of people don't know how to invest, don't know how to make money work for them. Would you find that to be true? Thank you.
So what an interesting question, right? It is for people in our field, but I think for everyone in general, even regardless of what age you are, whether you're just starting out in your job, and how do you invest for the future, and even those of us who are maybe trying to catch up so we can retire someday. I think Mark is right. I don't think we get enough education about how do we pay attention to our finances and future. What do you all think?
I think he's right.
Yeah.
He's definitely right. The reality is, you don't learn that in school, really.
Mm-hmm.
Certainly not in radiology school. You don't, we don't have a course in that.
Mm-hmm.
And it's not until you really need it that you realize, boy, I should have paid attention to this stuff. Plus, I think in our field, so many rad techs out there start in the field very early.
Yes.
Right. So they're in their 20s. The last thing they're thinking about is retiring.
Yeah.
Right. So he's absolutely correct. I think that we do need to think more about that.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, that's exactly what comes to mind for me is the time constraints. You're so busy in this skilled job. And I would imagine someone younger, they're trying to prioritize their career more than their finances at that point. So
yeah. What a great question, Mark, and what a good reminder. And thank you for writing the article, right? How cool is that?
Yeah.
That there's an article about it in the Scanner for our members.
That's great.
Something we all need to think about. So what a great episode. Singing
God
and
help us.
all kinds of stuff.
I'm never going to get another gig. And it's your fault.
I have one more question for you. I know we're wrapping up, but you mentioned that you had done some videos.
Yes.
And so as we close out, can you talk about how people can see those videos? I mean, they need to follow our social media, right? So
sure.
Tell us a little bit more about that.
So that was a COVID project, actually. Would come in and we would videotape these histories about many of the artifacts and about the profession.
Mm-hmm.
So people can go to the museum webpage, which they can get to from the ASRT main page. Down towards the bottom of the page are each of our sub pages. One of them is the museum. And if you click on there, there's a load of content. Artifact Alley is the series that we did.
Okay.
We did like 8 or 9 episodes, everything from the founding of the ASRT to some of that quackery stuff. So it's a lot of fun, and I think they'll enjoy it.
Yeah, but you've had some great videos lately on social media as well that I know Kim also has produced. And
she's a magician.
Yeah.
But so we've been doing a series of little, video hits on each of our wonderful and amazing affiliates.
Yes.
They all have their own history, almost as old as the ASRT.
Yeah.
I was fortunate to write a book about those histories.
Yes.
And so, Kim had suggested that we highlight an affiliate every month. And so, that's a lot of fun. I love doing those.
No, thank you, Bill, for joining us. Hopefully the game wasn't too intense, and you did a great job. You really did.
You did. You really won.
Melissa did better.
I thought you were trying to grow your listenership.
Oh yeah, we definitely did.
Yeah. Okay.
Voice of an angel.
Yeah. Okay.
All right. So now we're going to transition to our ASRT update. And the reason why we do this is don't put yourself in a bad position.
Stay up to date with the RAD position.
All right, here we go. Since 1999, the ASRT Foundation Corporate Roundtable has been a place for industry partners to join forces with ASRT to tackle common issues faced by the profession. Corporate Roundtable participants support efforts to address the current medical imaging and radiation therapy workforce shortage and build career pathways as outlined in the white paper from the 2024 Consensus Committee. And that was the Consensus Committee on the Future of Medical Imaging and Radiation Therapy. And on January 22nd, 2025, the ASRT Foundation is hosting its Corporate Roundtable OEM partners at the ASRT office in Albuquerque, New Mexico. And we're going to focus on how industry can support the priorities outlined in the white paper from the Consensus Committee. This collaboration will ensure all parties of interest are contributing to the future of medical imaging and radiation therapy in the most efficient way. Visit the News, Research, and Publications section of the ASRT website to read the entire Consensus Committee white paper.
Thank you, Melissa. We can't wait to see you all next time. So don't forget to write in at radposition@asrt.org or fill out the form at asrt.org/radposition.
And be sure to subscribe and share this podcast with your family, friends, and colleagues. And to all our medical imaging and radiation therapy professionals, be seen
and stay rad.